Hi, it's Lyle from Made by Marley, and today we're going to be doing a bit of a craft project. Have you got scraps of fabric and just old junk and things you don't want, pieces of cardboard, and just you need a canvas? Well, I'm going to show you how to make canvas wall art like this today. This is the one I make on camera, and this is the one I make just the same sort of principle, the beetle. So if you're interested in these, watch on. Okay, what's today's project all about? Today I am going to be showing you how to make a wall art project with your scraps of fabric. First thing you're going to do is you're going to cover your fabric, your canvas with fabric, and now I'm just hoping that this is wide enough. Let's have a look. It is wide enough, but there were some marks and sort of worn parts on this, so I don't want to get parts where there's marks. I'm hoping to do both canvases with this red, so let's just see. I think that's probably going to do one of them. Now I've lost my scissors already. This is one of those projects. Now, so you've got all your beginning stuff and you are set up and you're sitting there having fun, because this is a fun project that you don't have to overthink. Every so often I do these projects where you don't have to overthink them. They're just ones that, you know, are good for your mental health. And this is one of them because it's using up bits and pieces, but also it's quite a mindful sort of craft. So let me just turn around and we'll get to this. I've got my staple gun behind me. Let me just cut this excess off. From here, we're going to be talking about mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is a tool to keep you in the present. So how I like to describe it is wherever your feet are. So your feet are here right now. So it's not about what happened yesterday. It's not about what's going to happen tomorrow. It is right now where your feet are. That's how to think about it. Mindfulness is about being present. So like, for example, right now, let's be honest, crushed velvet feels quite nice. So you can feel it. You can touch it. It's very tactile fabric. So that's the beginning of discussing what mindfulness is. I'm actually a mindfulness coach. I have been in the past. I don't have many people to coach in mindfulness now, really. But it's good to impart the knowledge. But I'll get back onto mindfulness in a minute. Let me just do this because I can't do two things at once. Because what I cannot do is multitask. Now, I want to pull this tight. I can tidy it up in a minute, but I just want to get it onto the frame and looking nice. I'll put one there and pull it quite tight at this other side. Let's just make sure there's no puckers in it. And there we go for this side. Now, I'm not going to insult your intelligence. You all know how to cover a frame. I'm just going to take this edge here off because it's going to be quite bulky and I don't want it so bulky on the frame as I do this. Now, as I said, we'll cut all the excess off in a minute. I'm hoping not to make a tutorial that takes about 3 million years, so just kind of do that a minute because I'm going to run out of fabric on here if I don't do something smart. There, and put this round and pull it reasonably tight for here. And then you just go around it like you would do anything. So I tend to kind of go from side to side next. So side. I've already done that side because it was running a little bit off. Now you can put a bit of card at the back of this to finish it all off at the end, so I wouldn't worry if your measurements are a bit like mine and a wee bit wonky. If you don't have a staple gun, you can just use hot glue. Corners, I tend to kind of go in with my corner, do one corner, and then pull the other one if there's enough. I think I have to do this the other way around. So pull and do. And then make sure you get through them all. Put one there and one there, and do the same at this side. Let's just flip it over and you have your canvas. Right, okay, so you've got this like this, and this is going to be your starter. I'm going to give that a wee wipe. You might not see it. I don't know what it is, something stuck to it. You can use any kind of fabric. It doesn't have to be crushed velvet. So what did I do? I just had a look quickly online at a sort of moth outline, and I understand that I'm going to be needing something about this sort of size for my body. And these are my sort of how my wings are going to go on. Something like this. I'm not going to put it together properly right now. My sort of body and my head. Move it down a wee bit because you're going to... So this is how it's going to kind of take shape when I do it. Now, while I was in the scrap store, I found these. They're the parts of the underwire bra. So I got a couple of those because I thought these little bits here will make marvellous antennae. So they're going to be up there. How am I going to go with this? Let's do the body first. Now, I want to slightly pad this. I've got this wadding. Let's just have a wee look. I don't want the padding on the back. We want the back to be flush. So let's just kind of, and I'm going to flip this. Now, as I said, I don't think there's any sort of particular way to do this because, as I said, I've never done it before, but get rid of that bit just now. Let's have a look and see what the sort of form's like. I think I could do with a little bit sliced off of there. Right, this is my sort of board. And now it's time to look at the fabrics. So I've got this. Let's just see if this is going to be nearly, if I put it diagonally, it's going to probably manage to go on it. Yeah. So let's flip her over like this. And I'm just going to sort of have a wee look at how this might all pan out once it's padded and on. Yeah, I don't think I need any more padding than that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my hot glue gun and I'll be back and we'll get this glued together. And how we're going to kind of separate bits of the body is I thought I would get this, I'll get that done first and then we'll be back in a minute and we'll see how this looks glued on, okay? Okay, so I cut out my shape. You just saw me do that. I waited on my hot glue heating up and I'm just gluing this on to the back of here. Let's get rid of that. Right, so this is our body. I'm not going to start putting any wool or anything on it until I get further on into the project. But let's just kind of, we're going to have to get a heat tool at the end of this and run it over it. So we are going to embellish this and everything, so don't worry about it. It's not going to look like a primary school project, I promise you. Now, my next parts of my template, the next one I'm going to do is this bad boy. And it's the same process throughout. It's a bit repetitive at the moment. I'm going to get my wadding, which is getting even more grimy as we go. And let's see if I can get this all kind of in a place where I can cut out this kind of shape. How many times have you done things and you're so busy thinking about what you have to do next? Like, I'll use an example of my own life. I have to hurry up and get that piece of furniture done. I have to get it onto social media quick. I've got a time in the day where it's good to post. I have to hustle. Life is like that. I've got to cook the dinner. Where am I going to go? What do I need to do next? Being mindful is a little bit like, let's just take a little break from life and just slow down a minute. Right, is that about, I think I've got a little bit giddy on this side, have I not? Or is it my template that's a bit giddy? Who knows? Yeah, put that bit off there. Now, what colours do I think are going to be nice with this? I think I'm going to go with this, a piece of this. And I mean, as I said, these came from the scrap stores. They've already been cut out for projects, but when you're looking for little bits of fabric for something like this, it's ideal. I'm just going to cut around here. Now, you've already seen me glue this one, so there's no point in watching me glue this one. I'm just going to do it exactly the same way. I'm going to glue this on and make this padded. So I'm going to get on and I'm going to glue this one next. I probably, let's just have a wee look. I'm probably going to do the same thing with the wings at this point in time. And I'm going to use this nice fabric for my wings. I think I've got enough here to do 2 wings. Let me just have a wee look. Perfect, right, I've got enough here for my wings. And the same thing, I'm going to put a couple of layers of wadding, none on the back, put it on here and glue gun my wings. And the last thing will be my head. And I think I'll use this for my head, will I? Or will I use this stripe? No, I'll use the stripe for my head, yeah? So once you've got all your parts with the padding and the fabric on, now is the good part. Now it's time to start embellishing. We can run a hot tool over it to get rid of all the little glue strands, but I would wait till the end until you've got it all put together. Right, what am I going to do next? Out of this nice piece of fabric here, I quite like this shape. And so I thought, since we're doing mindfulness, I thought we should cut this out. Mindfulness isn't about completely emptying your mind. That's not what we're trying to do. It's making sure, you know, that when your mind wanders off, that you bring it back into the room and present, you know, be present about it. You can, like I do myself little reminders, especially if I don't really use Facebook. I used to use it years ago, you know, Facebook, but I use it an awful lot for business. And I also have to be on social media an awful lot because of what the business, you know, the business needs social media. It needs it. So I have to be on it. But I quite often, if I've been on it for a while and I think, right, I'm starting to doom scroll here, I'm going round and round, I come off of it. Because I think, right, get yourself back in the room, what's going on. How many times have you been places, had a really good time, but you think, oh, I wish I had taken the time to do that. You know, when Jamie was getting married, one of the things that I told her was, I said, the day will go in a flash. Remember and take time out with Johnny and look around and look at your guests and soak it up, because being mindful about things, sometimes I'm just not present. You know, Martin can be telling me something, but I'm busy answering a comment or something and I'm not answering them straight away. And it's good for you to be more present. It's good for you to appreciate. How do you do that? Well, right now I'm thinking about my scissors. I'm thinking about how my scissors feel in my hand. I'm thinking how nice this is that I'm not, you know, I don't have to crawl around the floor. Or, you know, it's not hugely physical, this. So I'm just sitting enjoying the feeling of cutting out. My scissors are nice and sharp, which means it makes this process so much nicer. If you ever cut with blunt scissors, I find it quite frustrating half the time. I've always got lots of pairs of scissors, but they're in varying states of, and I've got a really nice pair of fabric ones, but I have no idea where they are. I cut this out as well, but with this one, I cut a little bit more of the blue out on the background because we're sticking pattern on top of pattern on top of pattern, which means that we have to give it a sort of almost a little border so it all shows up. Right, these are my wings, so let's have a wee look. I thought maybe I would glue one on here, and let's have a look for sort of kind of measurements here. Now, if the one I made previously, which was the sort of more the 3D version, you'll probably see a picture on my social media if you go back, or I'll get Martin to put a picture. Martin, could you flash it quickly up on the screen and I'll give you a photo of it? Yeah. I sewed an awful lot of that because I was doing the sort of slow stitching, the mindfulness stitching kind of thing. I'm thinking this, or maybe not, because I have these. Now, I don't have two the same in the pack. So these are the two nearest I have. I think these are pretty bougie. So let's get these on. I also cut a piece of, on this fabric here, it has these little flowers, which was a remainder. So I cut those out of there while I was doing it because I was enjoying cutting things out. We can find the orientation of these. It's just kind of by laying down and having a look at what we think about this. I think maybe we could go that way round would be better. So that gives us an idea where we're going. I'm going to try not to move this too much. So yeah, you can sew these on at this part, or you can hot glue them. And I am just going to hot glue because I'm just having fun and I'm not overcomplicating the issue. Right. That's the kind of wing. Now, I want to put something, some border on it. I've got this, it was off a tassel, so I just want the, I don't know, let's go with the green. Separate the strands of this. Let's start at the beginning. This could potentially be fiddly, but what else am I doing? It's just a tiny little bit of glue on the, I always think things look more put together and a little bit more expensive if they've got a sort of trim or a kind of border. Now you saw what I did, I just ripped up a bit of rope to make this, so it doesn't have to be hugely costly, this. I might have to take a little moment just to get this right. I'm just going to cut this frayed edge off here because I don't want it to fray out. Get my measurements kind of right. I'm making this look fiddlier than it actually is. It isn't actually this fiddly. It's just I've got hands like monkey's feet. Right, there we go. Making sure that I've joined that up nicely. So that is one wing, but because I've got loads more of this, I can take this again and I can put it round this shape too. So I'm making this up as I go along, by the way. I'm just giving you a heads up. There has been no thought off camera about how I was going to do this. I just thought it would be fun. I'm taking it on the slight outside edge. You could use twine or rope or ribbon or whatever really takes your fancy at this point. Okay, so these are the two wings as they currently, we're going to embellish them more in a minute, but I've just sat them down there because I'm working on the head. The head was the same piece of rope that I took apart and made into different strings. I got a couple of strands of the green and I've got a couple of this left. This is the only one I've got left of that now. I stuck my two roses on the same way you saw me doing that, and I just did a pattern. Next, I think I'm going to add some of these beads. Why? Because I can. Now, there is only one brown one, so let's put this one here. Yeah. And let's just, and there's only a couple of the sort of turquoisey ones as well, so we're going to have to just, how do we look at them? I thought, right, I'm going to have to use those ones first. I've got quite a few greens, so we're all right with the green, and we've got quite a few pink. So we'll do green, pink, red, and try and do green, pink, red again. I jumped over to the head because we thought there was a problem with the camera. Sorry about that. If you didn't see me put the rick rack on there, that's where it's going. So I'm going to do a piece on the other side now as well. So let's just measure this out. Your hands get pretty sticky with hot glue, so, but I'm not, as I said, getting rid of any of melting off these strands until I get to the end, I don't think. If it's too big, slice it and just push it in. The same with the other side. I don't like the join in there. That's it. Now, if you can put together a whole load of stuff from your stash, you can do this. This is just gluing with style. And as I said, the last one I did, I sat and I night after night sewed it. But this is just as much fun. and I'm being quite present and mindful about it. So I think these need something here and here, but I don't know what that is yet. So let's just set those aside. I've still got the beads to do on that. I've got the head to do. Let's see if I can just grab the head a minute and see what I can do on the head. Oh, I thought, maybe this is the chance where I go crazy, isn't it? I thought I might get some of this and glue it just at the bottom part of the sort of the wing, moth's wing. So kind of here, let's just see how that looks. We might not like it. The royal we. Right, let's see how that looks. Yes. And I'll do the same on the other side. So we've got that, because that gold complements that up there. Right, 2 wings, nearly done. Beady head done. Little, well, beady body. This is body. Oh, talking about bodies, you know how moths have a fluffy bit? Some moths have fluffy bits. I found this. So I thought when I put it together, I'll have this fluffy bit on it as well. How bougie is that? Now, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to... I don't have any spray paint to spray my underwires from a bra. But I think maybe either Posca or... Just cut this here. I need to get rid of this lumpy part. Oh, I need more glue. And pop that in there like that. And that kind of gives that a border. Oh. I'm definitely mindful of getting my fingers burnt. Right, that is going to be the head, which is going to be joining onto there, which is going to have the fluffy gnome Santa beard that never got made into Santa's. So this, I'm just going to go away now and embellish this body. And how I'm going to do that is, I was going to do it with wool, but I haven't used any wool throughout this. I'm just going to take parts of the rickrack and I'm going to glue it at one side. Yeah. And then I'm going to pull it tight on the other side. We chop and pull it so that it kind of makes a little bit of, what are we saying? You know, pushes it in a little bit. I don't know how many of these I'm going to do. Maybe a few, all the way up like this. Okay, so I've got the underwire, yeah, from the scrap store, and I'm just putting a little bit of glue on this, and I'm just wrapping this with this green wool. I couldn't think of how to paint it, but then I thought, since it is a mixed media sort of fabric sort of project, this will probably look good. So I've done the other one already. I feel like I'm going the wrong way. I don't know why. Keep going, and every so often pop a little bit of hot glue on it just so that it won't unravel. Keep going until you get to the top. Now the top of this has like a sort of wider part. So what I'm doing is I'm going up and around and try and cover up that part at the top. Then I'm going back down again, just at the top only. And around we go. Cut this here, and I want to try and go back over that little pink bit that's showing there, but I probably won't manage it. You know what it's like. You can try, but you know, life gets in the way. And my fingers clearly, because everything's sticking on them. Now we've got a big chunky bit of glue. Let's get rid of that. I didn't really attempt that. I tried. Right, okay, so then you have 2 antennae. Right, I've got some of this trim. I'm not got enough to go all the way around, so I'm just going to put it bottom and top. Right, okay, so this is where You hope that you've built it all and it works out. Worth being mindful at this point of putting it together, where everything's going to sit. So take a minute and just look at it first. Now, the way I want to put it on is I want to do this, and then I want to have my wing. So let's move this up a bit here. Yeah. This part of the body really goes over the top of here. So we're going to have to be quite gluey with that. And then head. Here. I can see we're going to have to move it down. Just take your time because you want it to be right. You spent all this long putting it together. I don't think I mind whether the antennae, yeah. Oh, now we've lost the other one. It's just typical of life, isn't it? It is. Ah, there it is. Now it is going to need legs as well, but the rope for that is out in the camper, so I need to go and get that, right? So that's about that positioning. And once I've done that, I'm going to put a tassel on either side of the hair. But right, we'll leave the head there, but we'll take the wings off. And we'll try not to move it too much, but we'll really saturate it with hot glue here and pop it down. And the same for the other side. Oh, a bit giddy there and put a bit in the front. I hope that doesn't show. And under here and under here. Now, let's just make sure that I've got this attached. Not having a very good day with the old hot glue, am I? Get to that. Right, so bod's on. Now, I think what I'm going to do is, because I like this positioning, I'm going to put the head on next. It's a bold move, I know. I'm going to come back round and glue this thoroughly. I just need to get my my parts down. I don't know how much of this furry stuff I'm going to need. So this is going to go on here, and this little fluffy stuff is going to go under here. Yeah. Right, okay, let's glue the Santa beard on first. Right, now, I think the thing with this is to make sure you've got plenty of hot glue on your hot glue thing, because this is the one that goes over the top of everything. So I'm going to do this first on. I'm going to glue this side first. Then I'm going to glue this side. I'm actually quite pleased with this. I've never made one of these before. So, you know, and it was my bug that inspired me to make the moth. So it shows you sometimes your own projects just inspire you to do something different. And when I put these tassels on, so I'm just going to sort of cut the stringy parts because I don't need them. And put some glue on and pop it in there. Right, okay, I think what I will do is, now this is the part where I just go bananas. Feel free to stop if you think you've done enough, but is there such a thing? I'm just thinking that this would be quite nice up inside here, like that. But I want it more of a sort of kind of tassel. So let's just pull it tight. and hot glue that at that edge. Twirl it around. So you've made yourself a wee tassel. Glue it from the back and shove it up in there. Because why not? So they're done. It's just literally, you saw how I put together. It's so simple. It's really relaxing. It's good for your mindfulness. And I want to just finish off talking about mindfulness. Just try and enjoy where you're at right now. 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you smell, 2 things you touch, and 1 thing you feel. Try and do something like that, because mindfulness is a really good tool of relaxing yourself and your body. So anyway, these are my lovely beetles made from scrap fabric. Hope you enjoyed them. We'll see you next week, and it's a great big piece next week. So back to furniture. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.